Playcrafters Barn Theater is ready for performances of the classic drama A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams.
Yeah, the play was first performed on Broadway in 1947, if you can believe that. A lot of people remember the film as well, which came out in 1951. Let's take a quick look.
Hey, Stella! Hey, Stella!
I wouldn't mix in this.
Joining us now from Playcrafters Barn Theater is director Mike Schultz, along with Kate Ferentz, who plays Blanche Dubois in the show. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I can't get over it. So we were just chatting before the segment started, and Mike, you were saying that you're thinking that this hasn't been performed in the area for a number of years, like over a decade.
Indeed. 2009, I think, was the last production of this.
Okay.
And as far as Playcrafters goes, 1969 was the last time they've done this. Been a very long time. So it's a lot of pressure on us, as a matter of fact. So it's great to be able to do it, though. We're so excited.
So how does it feel to be able to do such a classic by Tennessee Williams? Obviously, I think a lot of people in high school, I remember studying Tennessee Williams.
Sure.
I mean, it's got to feel great to be able to do a classic.
It's probably my favorite play of all time, and I think
Yes,
Kate,
absolutely.
yours as well. It's one of those shows that has everything. It has laughs, and it has tragedy, and it has romance, and it has surprise, and it has terror. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of work. I wish it was done more often, but I'm glad we're the ones to get to bring it back. So
yeah, there's a lot of depth there, for sure. So Kate, we've been talking about how this is a classic, but there's probably a lot of folks out there who haven't seen this, or especially some of our younger generation haven't necessarily seen this. It's now a black and white film. I mean, so describe for us the storyline just a little bit.
Well, it's the story of Blanche Dubois, who's a kind of a down on her luck Southern belle, who's come to visit her sister, who's married to someone she wasn't expecting her to be married to.
And there's just a lot there. I mean, because Blanche, who is your character, that's the role that you're playing, she kind of screws things up a little bit too for her sister and her husband in a way.
I mean, she's an interesting character because she's a lot of things all at once. She's very tragic and also very manipulative, and like she wants to create magic for people, but oftentimes she does that in a maybe not so thoughtful way. Yes,
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
So, Mike, you said it's been since what, the '70s that it was last played at Barnes.
69.
So
crazy.
So what's it been like for the cast to be able to come together and put this show on? You said you're feeling a little bit of pressure.
For sure, because it is such a classic of American theater, and I think that's one of the reasons it doesn't get done a lot, is because there is kind of that inherent pressure, and if you're going to do it, you better not screw it up at all. And what's been interesting, I think, for our group is that it's kind of a nice blend of people who are incredibly familiar with it and people who hadn't read it until maybe this year. Our Stanley Kowalski, for instance, just read it about maybe 9 months ago, and Kate's been in love with it for 20
I was
years.
17.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. So it's nice getting to treat both sides to this, and hopefully audience as well. We're expecting people will either come because they really love it, or they've always wanted to hear about, or wanted to know what it was about.
Intrigued.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's so crazy. So since you were 17, you've absolutely loved this. Now you're going to be on stage, and you are playing, I mean, probably one of the most diverse characters in the cast. What is that like for you, taking on that role?
Oh, it's a dream. I've dreamed of playing this part since I was 17. So just to have the chance to be given the opportunity is just amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And to do it at Playcrafters Barn Theater, I mean, talk about the space. It's such a historic space there.
It's so incredible. This is their 95th season, so they'll be celebrating their 100th anniversary in just a few years.
Oh my goodness!
It is a reconverted barn. It's exactly the way it advertises itself, and so we're kind of up in the hayloft area of what used to be the barn. It has a very long, kind of narrow thrust stage, as you can see right there. And so one of the tricks for doing this show is that it's kind of set in a realistic house setting, generally on a proscenium. But when you have that kind of long space, you have to think about how do we make rooms that are separated without having doors or without having curtains, so that you can actually see everybody at once. It's been an interesting trick to kind of pull that off, I think. But the barn space is just magical. It's just gorgeous there. Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by that because it is not your like typical stage that, you know, it's like there's like a 360 type of experience for the audience member. How does that change things? I don't know, for you as far as directing something like that, but for you as far as acting, it's almost like there's no hiding anything.
You can't cheat at all as an actor. I'll let you speak to that for sure.
No, you got to be completely in character all the time, just to make sure that any audience member who sees you will see you as the character. I've spent a lot of time working in that sort of 360 sort of environment, so I'm sort of used to it.
Well,
but
good.
like anybody who's mostly used to like just the basic proscenium stage, it takes a lot to get used to.
I can imagine.
So tomorrow's a big day. You ready for it?
Sure.
Yes.
Well, ready or not.
I mean, absolutely.
We're supposed to say break a leg.
There
Yes,
is.
break a leg.
Thank you, but there is the Friday the 13th opening date, and so you always knock wood every time you're going.
Didn't even put two
Well, let's all do
together.
it.
Right?
Yes.
There you
Well,
go.
The show will run tomorrow, September 13th through the 25th at the Barn Theater in Moline. Performances begin at 7:30 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays with 3 p.m. matinees on Sundays. For tickets, visit playcrafters.com or you can call the number on your screen. Mike and Kate, thank you so much. And
Thank
break
you.
a leg.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Excited
you.
for you, absolutely. And thank